Okay, taking it from where we left off. Now, some of these things will not attend to them now. So let me just remove some of them. This basically for clicking the button. So we'll come back to this later. Yeah, just comment them out. And even this, we won't touch this now. Let's attend to this first. So we want to be sure that we have our movies API type here. It's a list of that, so that works fine here. Okay. And that is that. Okay, that's when we fetch from the server. What are we expecting to get? Okay. So if we refresh, we won't get anything because it's an empty list. Is our server running? Let's be sure server is running. Okay. Yeah, the server is running. So when we come to the Explorer, we won't get anything. Definitely. Okay. But the cards are all there. So let's go ahead with other stuff. Maybe the first thing we want to do is to try to fetch and see if we'll be able to actually get some movies while we're here. Okay. So let's try with a simple fetch. So let's rename this to ref. Let this be a ref of. Now instead of having this here, we pick this back to this place. Okay. Now having this, we want to do unmounted. And it's mounted. What do we want to run? Want to run a function to fetch movies from the stuff. Now, because of we need to fetch movies, we'll need an API key. So you add straight to the TMDB and get your API key. So for us in this particular lesson, these are API key like. This is the structure, and I'll just pick some of it and do something there. But we'll be using Vite for it. So it's going to be something like you create a .env .env file somewhere, and we'll use that. So let's create the .env right away. We come to this place, at the root of the project itself, you write .env. That's just it. And the structure should be like this. While here will carry, you go back to your API, the movie DB, you go back there and you copy exactly what you see at this header where authorization is written, omitting the authorization because we'll add that later. Then pick from the bearer to the end and do the same thing here. So that's what it would look like. So I will update it because it's supposed to be protected, so you won't see it year after. But that's how it should look. And once you have it that way, you come back to to you come back to where you should. Since we're here, we are just doing this. Later we'll move things out from this place. So you come and say, do something like it's in this place we want to fetch and store the value. So you say fetch, use the fetch API. Usually it should be in the form of so the URL for fetching, and that URL you pick it from, let's say for the movies DB, this is the URL for in the upcoming movies. It's straightforward as this. So you just put it here. Then we can then define other stuff. Now let's create the header so that we can use it here. So let our header be something like this. Const headers. Let the headers be equal to something like this. So authorization, let it be something like this, and accept, let it be something like this. So for this we use import dot meta dot env dot okay, I think we've defined the base vite. I think we use vite API key. Remember API key. Okay, API authorization. So you exactly the way it is. You can call it anything you want, authorization. So, and this also you do the same thing. Import dot method dot env dot vite API accept. I think it's API accept. So this okay. So once we have that, we just come to this and add it as our headers. So declare this, say headers, and that's you had it as headers. That's fine. That should help us fetch. And once we fetched, we say then we pass the response that we'll get. We'll get a response. We pass it to we pass it and say if it's okay. If not okay, if response is not okay, if response is not okay, should show an error. Should show what an error of. Should show a new error of maybe network not available. You can call it anything you want. Else we return response.json. Else return response JSON it. Yeah. Then from what it's returned, okay, our time is almost up, so we'll continue from this place in the